Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet. Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Rutamashloke Bhakti Bhavati Naistiki. Om Agnanathimidandasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिनि नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादि पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे 933 very beautiful verse describing Krishna's form. त्रिभुवनकमनं तमालवर्णं रविकरगौरवर अम्बरं दधाने वपुर्अलककुल आवृत अननाब्जं विजयसखे रतिरस्तु मे नवद्या त्रिभुवनकमनं त्रिभुवनकमनं means one who attracts all the three worlds. What is it? Yeah, body attracts everyone in the three planetary system. Tamala Varnam, color of Tamala, Tamala Vriksha, Tamala tree, bluish color. Ravi Kara Gauravara. Ravi Kara Gauravara means Varambaram, Varambaram, like the sun rays, golden color, glittering dress, Ambaram dress. So he's wearing a dress which is glittering like golden color, like sun rays. Dadane is wearing. Vapur Alaka Kula. Uh, Vapu is body. Alaka Kula Avruta means covered with paintings of sandalwood pulp. Anana Abjam. Anana means face. Abjam means lotus. Face like a lotus. Vijaya Sakhe, friend of Arjuna. Ratirastu. This is the most important. Ratirastu me. Anavadya, without desire for fruitive results. So without any desire for fruitive results. Ratirastu me. I want to develop attraction, rati, for him. Shri Krishna is the ultimate friend of Arjuna. He is the intimate friend of Arjuna. He has appeared on this earth in his transcendental body. Now, this is the description of his transcendental body. His transcendental body, which is bluish color, which resembles the bluish color of the tamal tree. His body attracts everyone in the three planetary systems. May his glittering yellow dress and his lotus face, covered with the paintings of sandalwood pulp, be the object of my attraction, and may I not desire fruitive results. So this whole thing, this is the key. Attraction towards here, attraction towards the form of Krishna, towards the beautiful form of Krishna. Unimaginable, unmatched, beautiful form. The beauty, Krishna's beauty is not like they say skin deep, meaning it's not just external beauty. Krishna's internal beauty also. There's one more verse, very beautiful verse. Snigdha Smithavalokana. It says Snigdha. Snigdha means gentle. Smita Avalokana. Gentle, beautiful smile on his face. And his character is purest. purest character he possesses, and uh, whatever words come from his mouth are nectar. So generally, people might be beautiful, etc., but internal beauty is not does not exist, right? So uh, when they interact with people, that same sweetness of that beauty doesn't come out because that internal sweetness is not there. But Krishna is internally sweet, externally sweet. Mm. And regarding Krishna's form, it said even Vishnu is attracted by that form. Forget about Lakshmi Devi. Even Vishnu is attracted by that form. Mm. So Krishna's form, Krishna's pastimes are just incomparable. So some of these descriptions, even of from Brahma Samhita, mm, um, so we should try to, like bring based on these verses, bring a picture of Krishna in our heart. Of course, the easiest way is to just look at, like I keep saying, my Ishta Devata, Radha Madhav. You just to look at them and bring them into your mind. That's all. It's the perfection of all these verses, right? Experience, Vijnana. Mm. But we will be able to bring this form of Krishna in our mind. First thing is we should have that absorption. Second thing is that we should be so attracted by it, more attracted than anything else of this material world. Only then our mind will go towards that beautiful form. And Shastra says that no description can actually really help us understand what Krishna is. I mean, this description is all just because there's no other way to describe, right? I mean, how else will we describe except comparing Krishna with various things of this material world which we have experience of? But Krishna is way beyond this description. The description is um, not sufficient to actually describe Krishna. Elsewhere, Prabhupada says anybody who is attracted by anything beautiful in this material world mm, should get attracted by Krishna because Krishna is the most beautiful. Actually, every time I try to describe Krishna, of course, my own limited knowledge, but I just feel always limited. While he just seems so beyond words. And the important part is Ratirastu. We have to develop this attraction to Krishna. Like you keep saying, people, get agitated. Why, hammer on material, give up sense gratification, etc. Because otherwise we'll never get attracted by this. We'll not give ourselves a chance to get attracted by this beautiful form of Krishna. Mm. Because we'll just be attracted by useless, temporary something about this material world. We will never give ourselves a chance to get attracted by Krishna, the Krishna's beautiful form. Now, these verses are there, right? I was just reading third canto before the class, and Kardama Muni just finished his penance, and uh, the Lord just appears in front of him. Sati Yuga, look at the qualification of Kardama Muni. He did penance for 10,000 years, and Lord manifested in front of him. And Bhagavatam says he was delighted. I mean, just that word delighted, it can help us understand how much happiness he would have experienced just by looking at that form, which is, I don't know. I mean, it is so perfect and beautiful. So we have to hear these narrations and Really meditate on these descriptions. Mm. And then there is no way we can get attracted by anything of this material world. When Sri Krishna, by his own internal pleasure, appears on earth, he does so, not internal pleasure, by his own internal pleasure. Mm. He does so by the agency of his internal potency. So he appears by his own internal pleasure because it's great happiness for him come to this material world. Like I said, to show devotees what Vraja Prema is. The attractive features of his transcendental body are desired in all the three worlds, namely upper, middle, and lower planetary systems. Nowhere in the universe are there such beautiful bodily features as those of Lord Krishna. See, Prabhupada is saying, nowhere there are such beautiful bodily features of Krishna. Therefore, his transcendental body has nothing to do with anything materially created. Arjuna is described here as the conqueror, and Krishna is described as his intimate friend, Vijaya Sakhe. Bhishmadeva, on his bed of arrows after the battle of Kurukshetra, is remembering the particular dress of Lord Krishna. Now, yesterday we were discussing this, right? Like, look at Bhishmadeva's state of mind and how vividly he is able to remember Krishna. Huh? He is remembering the particular dress of Krishna which he put on as the driver of Arjuna's chariot. While fighting was going on between Arjuna and Bhishma, Bhishma's attraction was drawn by the glittering dress of Krishna. Uh, Bhishma is fighting, but he's attracted by the glittering dress of Krishna. And indirectly, he admired his so called enemy Arjuna for possessing the Lord as his friend. Arjuna was also a conqueror because the Lord was his friend. Was always a conqueror because the Lord was his friend. Bhishmadeva takes this opportunity to address the Lord as Vijaya Sakhe, friend of Arjuna, because Lord is pleased when he is addressed conjointly with his devotees, who are related with him in different transcendental humors, rasas. While Krishna was the charioteer of Arjuna, sun rays glittered on the dress of the Lord, and the beautiful hue created by the reflection of such rays was never forgotten by Bhishmadev. This is the beauty of these purports. So for example, if there is any aspect of Krishna which has attracted us, we cannot forget it. We can never forget. Suppose we are attracted by Krishna's mercy, we cannot forget that mercy. Suppose we are attracted by Krishna's smile, we'll never forget that smile. Suppose we are attracted by how Krishna dresses, we will never forget that dressing. Krishna's peacock feather, we will never forget that peacock feather. Krishna's sweet words, we will never forget Krishna's sweet words. So something about Krishna has to attract us to such an extent that we just cannot forget it. Cannot forget it meaning like gopis tell, saying that um, why are we thinking about this, cheater? He's just giving us trouble. We should just forget about him. But they're just not able to forget. It should become like that. That attraction to Krishna should be such that, other things are drawing your attention, but we're just getting attracted to that aspect. As a great fighter, he was relishing the relation of Krishna in the chivalrous humor. Transcendental relation with the Lord in any of the different rasas is relishable by the respective devotees in the highest ecstasy. Less intelligent mundaners who want to make a show of being transcendentally related with the Lord, uh, less intelligent. What do? They artificially jump at once to the relation of conjugal love, imitating the damsels of Brajadham. Such a cheap relation with the Lord exhibits only the base mentality of the mundaner. Base mentality meaning like modes, driven by the modes. Because one who has relished conjugal humor with the Lord cannot be attached to worldly conjugal rasa. See, one who has relished the conjugal humor cannot be attached to worldly conjugal rasa, which is condemned even by mundane ethics. The eternal relation of a particular soul with the Lord is evolved. A genuine relation of the living entity being with the Supreme Lord can take any form over the five principal rasas and does not make any difference in transcendental degree to the genuine devotee. It does not make a difference to the genuine devotee because he thinks that that is his natural attraction, right? So Bhishma Dev is attracted to, you know, Parthasarathi form in Vaikuntha Loka. Yeah, that's his natural attraction, and that is he cannot think of any other rasa, right? Like Hanuman cannot think of any other rasa with Lord Rama. That is the highest for them. Bhishma Dev is a concrete example of this, and it should be carefully observed how the great general is transcendently related with the Lord. Hmm. Prabhupada saying, carefully observe how he is transcendently related, meaning how he is, this is transcendental relation, right? How he is describing the beautiful form of the Lord, then he's going to describe so many other beautiful pastimes connected with the Lord, and all this with the attempt to just remember Krishna, remember his worshipable Lord at the end. So, like we discussed yesterday, he just stopped all material thoughts and simply started focusing on Krishna. Hmm. So we should read and hear uh, so nicely that, these clear thoughts should come to our mind about Krishna. Clear thoughts, not some hodgepodge, some, you know, clear thoughts, meaning like this, So it will be nice to remember these verses or these words describing the Lord. Tamala Varnam, Anana Abjam, Snigdha Smitavalokana. So like this, we should remember specific descriptions of the Lord so that that will help us to get attracted to Him and remain fixed there. Verse 34. Yudi Turagarajo Vidhumra Vishwa Kachalalita Shamavari Alankratasye Mama Nishita Sharer Vibhidyamana Vachi Vilasat Kavaches to Krishna Atma. On the battlefield where Sri Krishna attended Arjuna out of friendship. The flowing hair, if you look at the description, like almost like a movie. Bhishma Dev is dying and he is giving such vivid, beautiful descriptions of the Lord which could attract anybody. The flowing hair of Lord Krishna turned ashen due to the dust raised by the hoofs of the horses. So first he described his form, his dress. Now he's describing how his hair was flowing hair and it turned ashen due to the dust. And because of his labor, work that Krishna was doing, beads of sweat wetted his face. So just imagine, right? Like literally, like in slow motion, hmm? Flowing hair, beads of sweat wetted his face. Beads of sweat, not like pouring sweat, like beads, like, beautifully decorating his face. All these decorations intensified by the wounds dealt by my sharp arrows. Wounds. There are also wounds on the body of the Lord, apparent. They were all enjoyed by him. So Krishna was enjoying all this because this is the transcendental rasa. All these happens just because Krishna enjoys them. Krishna experiences happiness. So it was enjoyed by him. And Bhishmadeva is saying, let my mind thus go unto Sri Krishna. Our mind goes unto other useless things. And Bhishmadeva is so nicely teaching, let the mind go unto Krishna in this way. The Lord is the absolute form of eternity, bliss, and knowledge. As such, transcendental loving service to the Lord in one of the five principal rasas, Shanta, Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya, Madhurya, is graciously accepted by the Lord when offered to the Lord in genuine love and affection. Bhishma Dev is a great devotee of the Lord in relationship of servitorship, Dasya. Thus, his throwing of sharp arrows at the transcendental body of the Lord is as good as the worship of another devotee who throws soft roses upon him. So, how the Lord looks at this service is throwing sharp arrows. It's as good as another devotee who is offering roses, soft roses. So graciously, Lord accepts. It appears that Bhishmadeva is repenting the actions he committed against the person of the Lord, but factually, the Lord's body was not at all pained due to his transcendental existence. Because he's saying here that by the wounds dealt by. So he's feeling bad. So Prabhupada is saying, no, body is anyway transcendental. His body is not matter. Both he himself and his body are complete spiritual identity. Spirit is never pierced, burned, dried, moistened, etc. Bhagavad Gita 101. This is vividly explained in the Bhagavad Gita. So also it is stated in the Skanda Puran. It is said there that the spirit is always uncontaminated and indestructible. It cannot be distressed, nor can it be dried up. You look at this, so nice. This Krishna didn't say in Bhagavad Gita that soul cannot be distressed. But because we have taken the body as ourselves, Yasya Atma Buddhi is called Atma Buddhi. Yasya Atma Buddhi Kunapetri Dhatuke Swadikkalatradishu Bhaumajjati. So, because we have taken this bag of Kapha Pitta Vayu as Atma Buddhi, as myself, so I am distressed. So I am distressed. But otherwise, I cannot be distressed. Atma cannot be distressed. When Lord Vishnu in his incarnation appears before us, he seems to be like one of the conditioned souls materially encaged, just to bewilder the asuras or the non-believers who are always alert to kill the Lord, even from the very beginning of his appearance. Kamsa wanted to kill Krishna and Ravana wanted to kill Rama, because foolishly they were unaware of the fact that the Lord is never killed, for the spirit is never annihilated. Therefore, Bhishmadeva's piercing of the body of Lord Krishna is a sort of bewildering problem for the non-devotee atheist. But those who are devotees or liberated souls are not bewildered. Bhishmadeva appreciated the all-merciful attitude of the Lord because he did not leave Arjuna alone. Although he was disturbed by the sharpened arrows of Bhishmadeva. See, is another aspect of Krishna that Prabhupada is bringing about. So his all-merciful attitude, he never left Arjuna alone, even though he was disturbed by the sharpened arrows of Bhishmadeva. Nor was he reluctant to come before Bhishma's deathbed, even though he was ill-treated by him. Just imagine. From an external point of view, Bhishma ill-treated Krishna on the battlefield. But Krishna was not reluctant to come before him, before his deathbed. Bhishma's repentance and Lord's merciful attitude are both unique in this picture. So nice. This we cannot understand if we don't read the purports. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, a great acharya and devotee in the humor of conjugal love, so he's called Rasacharya, Madhurya Rasacharya, with the Lord, remarks very silently in this regard, very saliently in this regard. He says that the wounds created on the body, okay, so this we might find it difficult to understand, but please understand that this is transcendental rasa, it's not mundane. He says that the wounds created on the body of the Lord by the sharpened arrows of Bhishmadev were as pleasing to the Lord as the biting of a fiancé who bites the Lord's body directed by a strong sense of sex desire. Okay, so okay, let me just read this. Such biting by the opposite sex is never taken as a sign of enmity, even if there is a wound on the body. Now, so this is very difficult to digest, right? Because first of all, um, this kind of when we hear a description like this, it seems so gross, and if we're not many people are very enthused by hearing things like this, like bitten by a fiance, strong sense of sex desire. Now these words are very, very difficult to digest. And Prabhupada is not mincing words. Prabhupada is giving exactly this is the transcendental world. And this is Goloka Vrindavan. Okay, so that is why to be able to come to understand this or accept this or even want to be part of this requires us to be perfectly pure, clearly understanding Lord's position, position of transcendental rasas, etc., etc., and definitely not looking at Krishna from a mundane perspective. So if you're not able to digest these words at this point of time, no problem. Time will come, right? But it requires constant sadhana, purification. And yeah, then we can understand these things, what it means, why it is happening. Of course, we should understand when we talk about, when there's mention of sex desire, it's not the mundane perverted sex desire. Mm. Prabhupada mentions this in the first chapter, first canto, first chapter, first verse, Bhagavatam. So this is transcendental rasa, transcendental sex desire, which, and what we see here is perverted. So we should not try to, we should, so we should understand that there is some form of sex desire in the spiritual world which is pervertedly reflected in the sex desire of the mundane world, not the other way around. Meaning, because we don't understand that what that sex desire is in the spiritual world, we will try to reflect this back. Meaning, we will try to look at the mundane sex desire and then try to reflect it back onto the spiritual world, which is big mistake. Mm. And that's when we will go crazy, right? We cannot understand all this. So we should not try to reflect it back. We should try to understand the original sex desire, what that means, right? So, and I'm not going to go into any description of this because it's a very, very deep topic. But since it's there in the purport, I'm saying these things we should get to understand. But of course, first we have to understand. I'm not body, I'm spirit, soul. Mm. And when we go beyond the attraction of this material world, attraction to the body, me, aham, mama, and all that, slowly we can come to understand this. It's a very, very topmost subject on our path of bhakti, which we have to get to. We have to get to this. We can't escape this. Which is why, for those who, um, see, for example, like if somebody is not um, into reading Srila Prabhupada's books, then it's very difficult for them to come to these topics because they're never going to be discussed openly, right? So unless we read them ourselves, generally people think it's social taboo to be discussing all this. So it'll never get discussed, and they will never understand what they are getting into. Of course, I mean, if they're very sincere souls, then Krishna will reveal from within. Mm. But otherwise, Shravanam is very, very important. Reading Prabhupada's books. Therefore, the fighting as an exchange of transcendental pleasure between the Lord and his pure devotee was not at all mundane. Besides that, since the Lord's body and the Lord are identical, there is no possibility of wounds in the absolute body. The apparent wounds caused by the sharpened arrows are misleading to the common man. But one who has a little absolute knowledge can understand the transcendental exchange in the chivalrous relation. The Lord was perfectly happy with the wounds caused by the sharpened arrows of Bhishmadeva. The word vibhidyamana is significant because the Lord's skin is not different from the Lord. Because our skin is different from our soul, in our case, the word vibhidyamana or being bruised and cut would have been quite suitable. But it's not suitable there because it's all spiritual. There's no question of being bruised or cut. All these are only concepts associated with the material body. Transcendental bliss of different varieties, and the variety of activities in the mundane world is but a perverted reflection of transcendental bliss. Because everything in the mundane world is qualitatively mundane, it is full of inebrities, craziness. Whereas in the absolute realm, because everything is of the same absolute nature, there are varieties of enjoyment without inebriety, meaning pure, right? Uh, this pure enjoyment, the varieties of enjoyment. We can understand this. There are varieties of enjoyment. For example, there are all various seasons appearing at the same time in Vrindavan. There are varieties of food which Radharani cooks for Krishna, which have not repeated at all. Mm. There are varieties of, uh, cows that Krishna has. So everything is variety, and there is enjoyment in that variety. So the Lord enjoyed the wounds created by his great devotee Bhishmadev, and because Bhishmadev is a devotee in chivalrous relation, he fixes up his mind on Krishna in that wounded condition. So this is because Bhishma's mood, right? So he's in Dasya and this Veera Rasa, right? So he's looking at the Lord like that. He's remembering those things, mm. And that devotee in a different rasa will think about the Lord differently. So we have to See, sometimes I keep wondering, saying that, you know, we all get stuck in different stages, different aspects of our, some of us are stuck in material life, some of us are stuck in spiritual life. Stuck in spiritual life because by pursuing certain goals, um, in aspirations, etc., which might not be actually completely spiritual, because we don't know, we made our own goals somehow, right? And they all sound spiritual. They all seem spiritual, but maybe they're not spiritual, and we get stuck there. And if we get stuck there, we will never be able to make progress into these realms, right? Because all those lower platforms are just mundane. They're just mundane. So unless we are able to really rise above all mundaneness, right? Uh, be it directly originating from some material stuff, or be it originating from something which seems spiritual but which is not actually spiritual, devotees get stuck. They're not able to make progress to the higher taste, real higher taste. This is the real higher taste. Because when we get here, everything else seems useless, meaningless. Because whatever else that we are doing is possibly just part of this material world. Meaning, I'm just trying to, it's a anavadya. There was one word in the previous, this one, right? Like, without any other desires. Without any other desires. We shouldn't, if we are, like, let me put it this way, right? If we are going behind certain so-called spiritual goals, which is not helping us to make progress, and what is that progress? Mean that progress is internal. That progress is not external. That progress is not about what we are visibly achieving in the material world, be it in terms of preaching or whatever, right? Or somebody doing kirtan, number of programs they do, and none of these. None of this. It is internal, and it manifests as purity, as jivadaya, and progressing towards love of Krishna, attraction, attachment to these kind of hearing, which means attraction, ruchi for reading, hearing. Many times we see devotees are so busy, 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 busy. There's no shravanam at all. There's no shravanam. There is no rati astu me. There is no attraction, and we just from morning till evening we are engaged in some so-called spiritual activity. But if these spiritual activities don't result in increasing attachment for hearing about Krishna, then there is something wrong. Clearly there's something wrong. So we should understand, saying that all that we are doing, everything that we are doing, is actually get to this stage of appreciating, being attracted, appreciating, glorifying Krishna, being attracted by these descriptions of Krishna. If you're not getting there, then there's something wrong. We have to seriously introspect. Right? Such beautiful verses. I mean, that is why some of these are my favorite verses, because actually we can't understand directly Gopi's mood of the Gopis. Maybe it's too exalted, too exalted. We can think of Bhishmadeva and we can see, practically he's showing us. Mm. Narada Muni showed us in a different way. Bhishma Devi is showing in a different way. Kunti Maharani is showing in a different way. They're all showing us, saying that, okay, this is how we go closer to Krishna. And then when we go through all this, then when we come and hear about the love that gopis have towards Krishna, then we might be able to appreciate it slightly. It's such amazing verses and amazing purports. Just okay, I'll stop here. Hare Krishna. Any comments, questions?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Can I share something, please?
Yeah, please.
Prabhuji, when you were describing Bhishma Dev, Yesterday we devotees of Jayapataka Swami Maharaj Gurudev had received a message to pray for him. And when you were describing Bhishmadev, my thoughts just flew to him, Prabhu.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he cannot eat by himself. He cannot
Mm-hmm.
bathe by himself. He needs help to this. He's got sores in his back. And at this stage, if I mean, it's not right for me to put myself into his shoes. What would I do? Ayo Krishna, uthale, why me? Why did I suffer so much? What have I done? Kyuni Marti, give me this thing. I've never heard him complain. He's always been wanting to serve Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Prabhupada. Prabhu, like he must have, he has tasted Krishna consciousness. He has tasted something beyond what we can even imagine.
Yeah,
What
absolutely.
mundane people like us can imagine, right?
Yeah.
We won't ask Krishna, give me, I mean, Krishna, please pray for us that I can live more longer at this condition. No, Prabhu. He is giving me goosebumps to even think of it. I mean, I was just comparing him to what Bhishma, like, I don't know if I was right or wrong, but I mean, I just went through this. And thank you for just putting me into that shoes, and I could remember Guru Maharaj. Thank
Yeah,
you,
I mean,
Prabhu.
see, this I've talked about this many times, right? Like, see, Jayapatak Maharaj is showing by example, but what is happening is that we have to actually see him to follow in his
Follow.
footsteps,
Yes.
right? And what
I
is
mean,
not happening, which actually personally for me, it pains me a lot. It
yes.
pains me a lot. Is that, while he desires so much, uh, from his disciples, well-wishers, etc., we are not able to get anywhere close to what he expects, right?
Yes.
And this is what pains me more than actually, because see, yeah, I mean, when uh, when we look at his physical body, I mean, I know I can experience, I can see when I look at him, when I look at his eyes, he's just not affected at all. I mean, he just doesn't even know what's happening to his body, right? It's only people around him who are just worked up and worried, and but he's not on that platform. He's not on that platform, right? And he's just meditation. His meditation is, his service to Prabhupada, his service to Krishna.
Yes.
And what we are supposed to do is exactly, when I saw this message, I sent it to Anukul Prabhu, saying that, Prabhu, is Maharaj actually writing these words? Because I cannot think of him being on the material platform and asking his devout disciples to pray. I personally, I mean, I might be totally wrong, right? Because he will possibly be saying, go distribute books, go do,
Yes, Prabhu.
100 more programs, make more devotees. He will not say, he will not say, just sit here and, things like going to an astrologer. I mean, that's not Maharaj. That's not Maharaj, right? As in, it's
Yes,
just,
Prabhu.
for me, it's a contra picture. It's like an opposite picture of what Jayapatak Maharaj is, right? Which is why I feel so pained when I see these communications, because it's not actually, this is the glorification that has to happen. The glorification that has to happen is what you spoke about, saying that, in spite of all this, what should those messages turn to, which will then change the face of ISKCON? He's saying that, this is the external, like, physical trouble that, he's apparently going through. These words are very, very, have to be weighed, and whoever is writing those emails, I'm really, they have to be very, very careful. The apparent bodily discomfort that he's experiencing, because he's not experiencing, let's not bring him to the platform of him experiencing physical pain, because he's not experiencing. Let's understand what his position is. So the wording should be, in spite of these apparent physical inconveniences that he's going through, Maharaj is just fixed on his service. And let's also be fixed on his service. Let's not live life for ourselves. Let's live for, for Prabhupada's mission. Let's live for the way he's teaching us to live. This has to be the message. And if this message goes around, just imagine, I mean, the whole devotee community, they can get so fired up, and they can just simply change the world, right? But instead of that, what we are going into a wrong direction. I just feel this very, very strongly, that this is not the reason why Krishna has, wants Maharaj to still be on this earth, right? He's wanting everybody to look at him and learn, you know take a drop of that in our lives, into our lives. Take a drop of that. We cannot, I mean, it's like Shiva, right? We cannot even imagine, right? But even if we take a drop of the determination, that his commitment towards the mission, we will change the world. We will change the world, right? But those messages are not coming through, and I'm personally very pained because. But when I see those messages, this is the only thing I think. This is the only thing I think, saying that, I'm going through very small little health problems. I keep thinking, saying that, let me get the determination, willpower, focus, commitment that Maharaj is wanting us to learn. And that's what I pray when I see those messages. I don't make those prayers that are being asked to do, because I say, what? I mean, Krishna wants us to pray for his devotee. Why would he want that to do? Why would he want us to do that? Right? This is between Krishna and him, right? So it's a I mean, I'm very happy you brought this out, because this is practical learning. This is real. He's there, and he's showing, learn. This is how you do bhakti. This is how you do Ananya Bhakti, right? And I mean, I cannot change the thought process of everybody, but this is how I look at it, right? And every time I see those, I'm inspired. Every time I see, something there coming, is just a lesson saying that, fix yourself, commit yourself to the service, right? And nothing else comes to my mind, because if Krishna knows, right? He's here for a reason, and whatever he needs to accomplish, he will accomplish, and then he will decide to wind up his pastimes, right? But what are we supposed to do? We are supposed to carry on with this, even after his manifest disappearance, after he disappears from our sight. We have to still carry this. This is the legacy. The legacy is this commitment, this fire. That's what we need to carry forward, not anything else. Because I'm worried about this, because people will get discouraged, people will lose faith in Krishna. What I mean, I'm foreseeing this, and I'm very, very frightened by this thought, right? People will say, we made prayers and Krishna didn't reciprocate, right? I mean, it's a very, very, that is why, coming from there, right? Yeah, as being represent, it seems like it is coming from Maharaj, but it's not coming from Maharaj, right? And it's creating a different mindset, right? Actually, we should change the tone of this conversation and really ignite that fire, in people for committing, going beyond call of duty, going beyond their own limitations to serve Krishna, Guru and Krishna. This is what we have to take, and it's a beautiful, brilliant learning, great learning for all of us to take. Yeah, Rohini Mataji.
Prabhuji, just in continuation with what you said,
Yeah.
He's got bed sores at the size of a tennis ball. His chin has to be pulled. Everything. So now, when you said, praying for him, see what is between him and Krishna, my Guru Maharaj, we cannot understand. We cannot. But sometimes, Prabhu, this is my thinking. I could be wrong. Sometimes when they say devotees pray for me or something, you taste that intimacy between the disciple and the Guru. I'm not talking about his relation with Krishna and this thing. Like in Govardhan, Krishna lifted the hill, but when the others just put a stake, सबको ऐसे लग रहा था कि हाँ मैंने वजन उठा रखा. We have to follow instructions from our Guru Maharaj. We cannot, that is the biggest service we can do. But when he's saying just pray, it gives you that feeling, okay, Guru Maharaj, a little bit of intimacy. I feel a little intimate. I feel, oh, देखो Guru Maharaj ने कुछ ऐसे बोला है. I could be wrong, Prabhu, because what I heard from you has opened, given me another direction of thought. But this is what I mean.
See that this is anyway.
Yes.
This is not the subject for
not
open
to
discussion
be
here,
yes,
right?
Absolutely.
But let me just one statement I want to make, right, and we can close this conversation. Is in case Prabhu. This is directly coming from Maharaj. In fact, if he is told, saying that please pray for me, and then we should exactly know what the prayers he wants us to do. Absolutely, we should do. Right? That's all. Right? Nothing else. Right? I'm not questioning this at all.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Right? I made a very clear. I made a statement which is very, very I mean, thought
No, no,
it.
yeah, we're
I've
not.
thought
No, no,
about
we're
this.
just yes, Prabhuji. Correct.
I've thought about this
All
many
yes,
times because see, Mataji, I am just coming from my understanding of
very,
Shastra,
very. No, yes,
right?
yes,
And
Prabhuji.
when I look at when I look at him and when I look at what Shastra is saying, I'm seeing exactly like
Exactly,
he's
exactly.
living that,
Mira, yes,
right?
Prabhuji.
And when we
Absolutely.
see that the other side, what Shastra says is about the internal mood of such a devotee is not reflecting in the communication, right? So which means that basically
Yes,
this is my feeling, right?
I exactly get what you are trying to say.
Yeah.
We should get fired up and not get involved in this. You know, like I get your message very clear in this thing, Prabhu. Thank
Yeah,
you.
and yeah, I mean, yeah. Yeah,
Thank you,
okay.
Prabhu.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. Yeah, Rohini Mataji, you were saying something.
Yeah, about this message only, Prabhu. I was talking to my kids, I was just telling him, like, he's eternal Mayapur Vasi. How can, an astrologer can speak about him?
Yeah,
It's just
absolutely. I
so,
mean,
like,
it just blew my head off saying
yeah,
that, I
I
mean,
felt,
which astrologer? I mean, which astrologer can say anything about
right,
Maharaj? I mean,
right,
what can he say? He should have gone into he should have he if he is really an astrologer worth his salt, right? He would have gone into
yes.
like what happened with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, saying that hey, looks like like he told Chaitanya, hey, looks like you are covered in the last life, like that. Somebody if they're really worth their salt would have said, oh, sorry, I can't read this. It's beyond me,
Yeah.
right? If they were really an astrologer of that
Right.
caliber, seeing Maharaj, I mean, going into his chart, he said no, nothing
He's not.
matches.
Yeah.
Nothing matches, right? Nothing matches because Krishna would have just maneuvered his life in such a way that no astrologer would
Yeah.
map the events of his life to actually what he's seeing on his chart,
Yes,
right? I
yes.
mean, absolutely brilliant point, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, so I'm saying like we
Right.
we
If
look
at
at it,
all,
Yeah.
yeah.
we look at that fire, we look at that inspiration,
Mm.
and we will try to imbibe that in our own
Yeah,
lives.
if at all, if
And
Maharaj is asking, then it is for our purification. It's
yeah,
not for this
yeah,
this.
absolutely right. And and the mood still, I mean, prayer is okay if Maharaj is saying absolutely we should pray, but the mood is to carry on that legacy. And I want to, if I can carry on the legacy, I want to just make one big like poster of that, right? Carry on the legacy. Carry on the legacy. And the legacy is of that fire. The legacy is not of that legacy is not for only, it's not my disciple, or it's not, I mean, people look at it, it's my guru. No, it's not for only because he's your guru, because he's a great Vaishnava. And we want to learn, right? And we want to carry on the legacy. And that's what he would want. As a sincere follower of Srila Prabhupada, he would want all of us to carry this legacy and not go behind, petty things that we are stuck with today in ISKCON, right? About this guru, disciple, this, that, and all that. No, I mean, he's inspiring everybody. He's
Yeah.
inspiring everybody, and we should get inspired and we should carry on the legacy. Really, I
Yeah.
mean, that's the fire that I see, and I every time when I see Maharaj, yeah, it doesn't matter really. I mean, when if I see whether I see Maharaj physically or anything like yeah, Brahma tells Narada when he asks all these questions, saying that thank you for enabling me to look into the prowess of my Supreme Lord, like that. Like some of these actually helps us because we are so distracted with so many things. When we see something like any kind of communication, it helps us to go deep into that position, right? And let ourselves soak in the message, in the depth of the personality that we are thinking about, and take that legacy, take that legacy. Yeah, okay, I think we can
Thank you.
stop. Thank you.
Um,
Hare
uh,
Krishna.
Pranam Prabhuji,
Yeah,
do you have time or should I ask tomorrow? It's not
no, yeah,
an
you can
urgent.
ask me.
Okay, Prabhuji, it is like two things. A few days back, I was undergoing my dental surgery. So it
Mm,
was very traumatic and painful. And
yeah,
while there on the chair, I was praying to Krishna, Krishna, please help me. Please help me
yeah.
tolerate. Is this selfish or is this okay? Like,
It's okay. I mean, see, some of these things naturally when we are calling her, I mean, Brajavas is also call out Krishna. Krishna, there's a fire. Please help us. It's okay. Mm,
mm,
just-
okay. And one thing, Prabhuji, related to book distribution, like
But
yesterday we were
only other thing, only little change I want to, I mean, if at all,
yes,
is
yes.
to say, Krishna, say me if you want, let me engage in
Yes,
your service. That's higher, that's a
right,
higher platform of prayer,
right.
but we shouldn't artificially imitate higher platforms of prayers. So if today naturally you called out to Krishna to help you in that situation, that's fine.
And Prabhuji, one more thing, like it's been 15, 20 days, like I just had thought in my mind since I am in a new state, in a new place, and things are different here, like as compared to Delhi schools and Noida schools, uh, people are little like, I don't know how to explain, like there the people were high-headed children also,
Mm.
and some attitude kinds of. So
Mm.
just a thought came to my mind that I should approach the principal of my son and ask him to imbibe like Bhagavad Gita in their course. Like, is it practical? Like the school is approachable. It is like 5 minutes from my
Yeah, I
place.
mean,
And
you can talk to, you can generally have a conversation saying that, like, like Bhagavad Gita is important. It'll change the life of children if they can understand, be taught, and then there are so many children program syllabus, right? Like you can, if they allow, for example, I mean, here also we do preaching in so many schools, right? We once in a week we go and there's a syllabus that we kind of follow and help children come to Krishna consciousness. Absolutely worth the try. And we
yes,
should not say
because I'm
Bhagavad Gita as
fearful.
such. We should not say Bhagavad
Okay,
Gita as
okay,
such because it depends on the age group, etc. Right? We might not be able to give them all the lessons of Bhagavad Gita directly based on their age. Um, right? For smaller children, it'll be more of katha stories, and through them, bringing actually, I won't say moral values, but getting attached to little bit of these spiritual topics, getting attracted to kirtan, getting attracted to other aspects of Krishna consciousness. So that automatically they will imbibe those values, right? But really the idea of all this preaching should be to just develop that attraction, right? Kaumaram acharet pragno, that should be our focus. And with that focus, yeah, absolutely, definitely we should go and
I
speak.
was thinking like I'll tell them ki 6 to 12 you can like give this book Bhagavad Gita,
No, no, no,
but
no,
I'll
no,
have to
don't give
okay
Bhagavad Gita.
SB.
Not for giving Bhagavad Gita.
Okay,
You should ask for preaching. And then if you get
okay,
permission, we can, if they say, okay, come back with something more concrete, I'll work with you to help you go and present.
okay. Initially, should I take some books or just should I just talk to
No,
him
you can
itself?
just do one thing, talk to, you just contact me after that. I'll let you know what I need.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
Hare
Thank you.
Krishna. Okay, I think it's 9:23. Close maybe. Yeah. श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय जगत गुरु शिल प्रभुपाद की जय वांछा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यो च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः अनंत कोटि वैष्णववृंद की जय। हरे कृष्ण।
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Danvat
Hare
Pranam.
धन्यवाद माता।
Hare
Prabhuji,
Krishna.
Yeah.
Danvat Pranam to
Yes,
everybody.
ma'am.
Prabhuji, just one. I'm not in station from 24th to the 8th. I'm in Vrindavan, so I'll be
Okay.
missing classes, Prabhuji.
Okay. Sure.
If possible, if I'm not traveling during that time, I'll log on. Otherwise,
Okay. Sure. Ma'am.
okay.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.